Hello, future teachers, and welcome. This is your definitive guide to passing the Praxis 5905 Science Subtest. Let's get you ready. First, the numbers. You have 60 minutes for about 55 questions. That's a little over a minute per question, so we need to be sharp. The test is split evenly into 3 parts. Earth science, life science, and physical science. Each one is a third of your score. Okay, let's begin with Earth science, our own planet. Think of the Earth like an onion. It has 4 main layers. First, the crust. That's the thin, rocky shell we all live on. Below that is the mantle, a super thick layer of hot, gooey rock. Deeper still is the liquid outer core, and right at the very center, a solid inner core made of iron and nickel. Beyond the solid parts, we have the hydrosphere and the atmosphere. The hydrosphere is all the water on Earth, oceans, rivers, glaciers, everything. The atmosphere, that's the blanket of air surrounding the planet. It's our shield protecting us from solar radiation. Now, the Earth's crust isn't solid. It's broken into huge pieces called tectonic plates, and they are always moving. When plates collide, they form mountains. When they slide past each other, you get earthquakes. And when one slides under another, you get volcanoes. This constant movement is part of the rock cycle. Rocks are always being recycled. Igneous rocks are fire rocks cooled from lava. Sedimentary rocks are made of tiny bits squeezed together. That's where you find fossils. And metamorphic rocks. They're other rocks changed by intense heat and pressure. Just like rocks, water also has a cycle. It starts with evaporation. The sun heats water and it becomes a gas. Then condensation. That gas cools and forms clouds. And finally, precipitation. When the clouds get too heavy, we get rain or snow. And all that happens in our atmosphere, which creates our weather. Weather is just what's happening in the air. Right now, a key idea here is pressure. High pressure usually means happy weather, clear skies. Low pressure usually means lousy weather, clouds and rain. The Earth's rock layers are like a history book. There's a simple rule called the law of superposition. In a stack of rocks, the oldest layer is always on the bottom. Scientists use this law and the fossils in those layers to read our planet's ancient story. Now let's zoom all the way out. Our solar system has the sun in the middle. The 4 inner planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are small and rocky. The 4 outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, the relationship between the Earth, Sun, and Moon dictates our lives. The Earth's rotation or spin gives us day and night. Its revolution or orbit gives us our year, and the moon's orbit around us gives us the phases of the moon. And this is a big one for the test. What causes the seasons? It is not the Earth's distance from the sun. It is 100% caused by the 23.5 degree tilt of Earth's axis. When we're tilted toward the sun, it's summer. When we're tilted away, it's winter. That's it. 2 other cycles to know tides and moon phases. Tides, the rise and fall of the ocean, are caused by the moon's gravity pulling on our water. And the moon phases, that's just our changing view of the sunlit part of the moon as it orbits us. Okay, let's pause. Before we move on, remember what science is. It's not just facts. It's a process. It's about curiosity and asking questions. This idea of inquiry applies to everything we're going to cover. Science is a human endeavor. It's a creative, exciting process driven by our desire to understand the world. It's about people working together to solve problems. At its heart, science is inquiry, a process for figuring things out. You make an observation, ask a question, form a hypothesis, and test it. That's the scientific method. And scientists don't start from zero. They build on the work of others. Using research at journals and existing data is a huge part of making new discoveries. Finally, science looks for big ideas. unifying processes that connect everything. Thinking in terms of systems and looking for order and organization helps us make sense of a very, very complicated world. All right, section 2, life science. Now we dive into the world of living things, from the smallest cells to the largest ecosystems. So, what makes something alive? Living things share key traits. They're made of cells, they use energy, they grow, respond to their environment, maintain a stable internal balance, and they reproduce. The cell is the basic building block of life. The two you need to know are animal and plant cells. Plant cells have 3 extra parts an animal cell doesn't: a rigid cell wall, a huge central vacuole for water, and chloroplasts for photosynthesis. And living things are organized. It's a hierarchy. Cells group together to form tissues. Tissues form organs. Organs work together in organ systems, and all the systems create an organism. To stay alive, organisms have jobs to do. 2 of the most important are photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Photosynthesis is how plants make their own food from sunlight. Cellular respiration is how both plants and animals break down that food to release energy. Life makes more life through reproduction. There are 2 main ways: asexual, with one parent only creating an identical offspring, and sexual, with 2 parents creating a unique offspring. That second one is great for creating diversity. And how are traits passed down? Through heredity. The instructions are stored in a molecule called DNA. Sections of DNA are called genes, and some genes are dominant while others are recessive. Living things also change over and is a very long time. This is called evolution. The main engine for it is natural selection. Individuals with helpful traits are more likely to survive and pass those traits on. To survive day to day, organisms need balance. Maintaining a stable internal state is called homeostasis. Think of your body shivering to stay warm, and they also respond to outside triggers or stimulants like pulling your hand away from a hot stove. Every organism goes through a life cycle. Think of a butterfly's metamorphosis from egg to caterpillar to chrysalis to adult. Plants and frogs also have their own incredible life cycles. With so much diversity in life, well, how do we organize it? We use a system of classification. It's a hierarchy, right? From broad to specific, domain, kingdom, phylum, class, to order, down family, genus, and species. The more levels 2 things share, the more related they are. And no organism lives alone. Ecology is the study of these connections. An ecosystem includes all the living or biotic things and the non-living or abiotic things in an area. Within that ecosystem, energy flows in a food web. It starts with producers like plants that make their own food, then come consumers who eat other things, and finally decomposers, who are the cleanup crew recycling all the nutrients. This section of the test also covers personal health. You'll need to know the basics of nutrition, how communicable diseases are spread by germs, and the health risks of substance abuse. Okay, just like with earth science, we have to remember the process of science. Let's quickly apply that idea of inquiry to the world of biology. It's simple, really. You notice something, like plants in a sunny window grow taller. That's an observation. It leads to a question, a hypothesis, and an experiment to test it. That entire process is science in action. And now for our final section, physical science. This is the stuff that makes up, well, everything. We're talking about matter and energy. So what is matter? Easy. It's anything that has mass and takes up space. The basic building blocks of all matter are atoms. Different kinds of atoms are called elements. We describe matter by its properties. Physical properties are things you can see without changing the substance. Think color or density. Chemical properties describe how it can become a new substance, like its ability to burn. Matter also exists in different states: solid, liquid, and gas. Changing between them, like ice melting, is a physical change. The water is still H2O, it just changed its form. But a chemical change is totally different. This is when you create a brand new substance. You can't go back. Think of burning wood into ash or iron rusting. That's a chemical reaction. We can also combine matter. A mixture is when substances are just physically combined like a salad. A solution is when one substance dissolves completely into another, like salt in water. Okay, so why do things move? Because of forces. A force is just a push or a pull. If the forces on an object are unbalanced, it will accelerate. The rules for motion were written by Isaac Newton. His 3 laws are key. The first is inertia. Things want to keep doing what they're doing. The second is F equals ma. Force equals mass times acceleration. And the third, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Next up, energy. Energy is simply the ability to do work. The 2 main types you'll see are potential energy, which is stored energy, and kinetic energy, which is the energy of motion. And here is one of the most important rules in the universe, the law of conservation of energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It only changes from one form to another. We use tools called simple machines to make work easier. They don't reduce the work, but they change the force needed. The 6 you need to know are the lever, P-U-L-L-E-Y, wheel and axle, inclined plane, wedge, and the screw. Finally, how do energy and matter interact? Electricity is the flow of electrons. Magnetism is a force created by moving electricity, and sound is energy that travels in waves through matter. And that's it. You've covered the core concepts for the entire Praxis 5905 science exam. Review this material, stay curious, and go into that test with confidence. You've got this. Good luck.